What will happen, and what happened the last time two eclipses formed a giant X over the New Madrid fault zone? Michael Snyder reports, could it be possible that history is about to repeat itself? On April 8th, the Great American Eclipse of 2024 will complete the giant X over America that the Great American Eclipse of 2017 started. Meanwhile, the Devil Comet will be racing through our solar system for the first time in 71 years. Most of you already know all this, but what is not widely known is that we have seen this same pattern before. In 1811, a solar eclipse finished a giant X over the heartland of America that a solar eclipse in 1806 had started. Meanwhile, Tekumish comet was making headlines all over the nation as it raced through the heavens, approximately 3 months after the giant X over America was completed. Cataclysmic earthquakes began erupting along the New Madrid fault. Now, a remarkable total solar eclipse crossed the entire continental United States from the west coast to the east coast on June 16 in 1806. On June 16, 1806, a total solar eclipse crossed the North America from Baja California to Massachusetts. This was a long-duration eclipse with nearly 5 minutes totality at the point of greatest eclipse. While the western United States was sparsely populated, this eclipse did not pass over Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. That was the first half of the giant X over America in the early 1800s. The second half was formed by the path of the Ring of Fire solar eclipse that took place September 17, 1811. This eclipse was so widely anticipated that even Thomas Jefferson wrote about it. But in 1811, when the solar eclipse that occurred on Constitution Day was visible in central Virginia, that's exactly what Thomas Jefferson did. On September 17, he diligently recorded his observations in his weather journal. He noted the times when the moon first contacted the sun, when the annulus ring shape formed, when the annulus broke, and when the contact ended. He also indicated the central ring of the contact and the central time of the annulus. According to Jefferson's observations, the entire event lasted 3 hours, 15 minutes, and 34 seconds. The paths of those two eclipses intersected in the vicinity of Cleveland, Ohio. The 1806 and 1811 eclipses crossed in Cleveland, which was founded in 1796. It is not at Hepton Cross. It's not a Hepton Cross, but one of the eclipses is annular, but is still probably the most pronounced U.S. cross until our current ones. Approximately 3 months after the eclipse of 1811 completed the giant X over America, the New Madrid fault zone started to go absolutely nuts. To this day, we have never seen earthquakes of such destructive power in the continental United States. The New Madrid earthquakes were the biggest earthquakes in American history. They occurred in the central Mississippi Valley, but were felt as far as New York City, Boston, Montreal of Canada, and Washington, D.C. President James Madison and his wife Dolly felt them in the White House. Church bells rang in Boston. From December 16, 1811 through March 1812, there were over 2,000 earthquakes in the central Midwest and between 6,000 and 10,000 earthquakes in the Boot Hill of Missouri, where New Madrid is located near the junction of the Ohio and Mississippi rivers. In the known history of the world, no other earthquakes have lasted so long or produced so much evidence of damage as the New Madrid earthquakes. 3 of the earthquakes are on the list of America's top earthquakes. The first one on December 16, 1811, a magnitude 8.1 on the Richter scale. The second on January 23, 1812, at 7.8 magnitude, and the third February 7, 1812, at such much as an 18.8 magnitude. According to the USGS, At one point, the geography of the region became so distorted by seismic activity that the Mississippi River actually began to flow backwards temporarily. In the winter of 1811 and 1812, the New Madrid seismic zone generated a sequence of earthquakes that lasted for several months and included 3 very large earthquakes estimated to be between the magnitudes of 7 and 8. The 3 largest 1811-1812 earthquakes destroyed several settlements along the Mississippi River, causing minor structural damage as far away as Cincinnati, Ohio, and St. Louis, Missouri, and were felt as far away as Hartford, Connecticut, Charleston, South Carolina, and New Orleans, Louisiana. In the New Madrid region, the earthquakes dramatically affected the landscape. They caused bank failures along the Mississippi River, landslides along Chickasaw Bluffs in Kentucky and Tennessee, and uplift and subsidence of large tracts of land in the Mississippi River floodplain. One such uplift related to faulting near New Madrid, Missouri, temporarily forced the Mississippi River to flow backwards. In addition, the earthquakes liquefied subsurface sediment over a large area and at great distances, resulting in ground fissuring and violent venting of water and sediment. One account of this phenomenon stated that the Pemiscot Bayou, the bayou, blew up for a distance of nearly 50 miles. As these earthquakes opened up the enormous fissures in the ground. Some of them were up to 5 miles long, and most of the crevices ran from north to south. I think that is a very interesting detail. Just before the earthquake started, Tecumseh Comet made a spectacular appearance. The earthquakes were preceded by the appearance of a great comet, which was visible around the globe for 17 months, and was at its brightest during the earthquakes. The comet, with an orbit of 3,065 years, was last seen during the times of Pharaoh Ramesses II in Egypt. In 1811-1812, it was called Tecumseh's Comet, or Napoleon's Comet in Europe. And here in 2024, the Devil Comet has made a spectacular appearance just before the Great American Eclipse of 2024 finishes the giant X over America that the Great American Eclipse of 2017 started. Interestingly, CBS News is reporting that the large numbers of Americans will be flocking to an area in southern Illinois where the paths of the Great American Eclipse of 2024 and the Great American Eclipse of 2017 intersect. While many are likely to head as far south as possible, some of the biggest cities in the Midwest are likely to fuel day of migration to spots in Missouri and Illinois, many of them likely seeing a total eclipse for the second time in a decade. A small zone centered around Carbondale, Illinois, was also the path of totality in 2017 and will be once again this month. For a lot of these people, the Great American Eclipse of 2024 will be a wonderful opportunity to party. As the most ominous sign in the entire history of our country passes over our heads, they will be celebrating. But the last time we saw a giant X over the heartland of America, it certainly was not anything to celebrate. Scientists tell us that it's just a matter of time before cataclysmic earthquakes erupt along the New Madrid fault zone once again, and when that time arrives, the death and destruction that we will witness will be off the charts. This is by Michael Snyder on End of the American Dream. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Michael's new book entitled Chaos, available in paperback and for Kindle on Amazon, and you can check out his new Substack newsletter right here. About the author, Michael Snyder, extremely controversial new book, Chaos, available in paperback and Kindle on Amazon. He's also written 7 other books available on Amazon, including End Times, 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, Commissions Earned. When you purchase any of Michael's books, you help to support the work that he's doing. You can also get his articles by email as soon as he publishes them by subscribing to his Substack newsletter. Michael has published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, end of the American dream, the most important news, and he always freely and happily allows others to republish those articles on their own websites. You can connect with Michael on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter and share his articles on your own social media accounts. It's definitely a great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, we strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.